I will talk some about the implications for some parts of the world, but then I will turn to Spain and also it turns out Italy and Portugal, and talk about some implications of research I've done about those three countries. In these three countries, productivity came to almost a full stop in the early to mid-90s. And so the most important thing is to figure out how to get the productivity to grow again.
Abrimos esta solemne sesión de recepción del excelentísimo señor doctor KYDLAND como académico de honor. Ruego al excelentísimo señor doctor Xavier Añoveros Trías de Bes, vicepresidente de la Junta de Gobierno, tenga la bondad de acompañar a la presencia de todos los aquí reunidos al nuevo académico de honor, excelentísimo señor doctor KYDLAND. ¿Ratificáis vuestra aceptación de ingreso a la Real Academia Europea de Doctores? ¿Prometéis cumplir fielmente los estatutos de la Real Academia Europea de Doctores y aportar vuestro saber y colaboración en vuestros trabajos científicos, tanto de carácter individual como colectivo, con el fin de velar por el prestigio de nuestra institución cuantas veces fuereis requerido para ello?
Macroeconomics is a delicate balancing act for government policymakers whose aim is to keep inflation low and to foster an environment to boost manufacturing and employment, thus creating long-term growth. But time is not on their side. Inconsistencies creep in, which can ultimately result in policies leading to high inflation, the opposite of their stated aim. One factor in tripping up policies is fluctuation in business cycles. Traditionally, this has been put down simply to variations in consumer demand, but in two joint papers in 1977 and 1982, our distinguished guest, Dr. KYDLAND, and his fellow, Dr. Edward Prescott, offered new approaches to the subject. It was their 1977 paper, Rules Rated on Discretion, the inconsistency of optimal plans, that highlighted the problem of time consistency for policymakers. They went on to analyze the driving forces behind business cycles in their 1982 paper, Time to Build and Aggregate Fluctuations. This work gave a new insight into the subject and laid the foundation for the new Keynesian approach to business cycles, and was recognized by the Nobel Committee, awarded both of them with the Nobel Prize in Economics in 2004 for the contribution to dynamic macroeconomics, the time consistency of economic policy, and the driving forces behind business cycles. Moreover, he has studied the situation in Ireland and Argentina with the idea in mind that there is a lot for other nations' policymakers to learn from the respective successes and failures of these two nations.
José Ramón left out a piece after 1975. You may recall that he mentioned that I organized for Ed Prescott to come to Norway, to come to Bergen, to spend a year. He mentioned that I had done some work on game theory, dynamic game theory, and had tried out some solutions involving some with commitment for the future and some that where it was assumed that no commitment was possible. During the year Prescott was there, that's when we decided to try the alternative of assuming commitment in the context of policy making. So it would be like the policy makers. We imagine they would have some objective, and then the private economy would react. And that is, of course, an example where the optimal solution turns out to be inconsistent over time. There will always be a temptation for policymakers to deviate from the optimal solution, and if they're tempted to do so, maybe more than once, things may turn out badly for society. So that was one of the things for which the Nobel Committee cited us. The other was to change the framework within which macroeconomic analysis is done. It used to be that economic models would be characterized by a system of equations, consumption function, investment function, labor supply function, labor demand function, and so on. It was trusted that one could use statistical methods to estimate the parameters of such equations. Bob Lucas, who was mentioned by José Ramón, he was really the one who cut the legs underneath that framework by showing that such equations would not be invariant to changes in policy, and then what good would they be? Now what Prescott and I did was we made the assumption that policy was chosen through optimization, through trying to maximize the outcome currently and far into the future of some objective function. During the year in Bergen, we made some experiments in which we realized the benefits of being able to commit to that optimal solution would be tremendous, much larger than we would have anticipated in advance, and hence the importance of that realization.
Es un verdadero honor formar parte de esta prestigiosa entidad y un verdadero referente en el conocimiento, la divulgación y la investigación. Junto a la de miembro de esta academia está, por supuesto, la de mi condición de presidente de la Fundación Cajasol, entidad sin ánimo de lucro que comparte con esta institución un compromiso largo profundo y firme con la promoción de la cultura, de las artes, de las letras, también de la ciencia, de la investigación y de la innovación como instrumentos absolutamente insustituibles para el desarrollo de una sociedad más abierta, más avanzada y de progreso para todos. Fruto de este compromiso compartido, estamos llevando a cabo, como saben, distintas actividades en común, entre ellas un ciclo también de conferencias en Barcelona y Sevilla que nos está dando la oportunidad de escuchar y aprender de la experiencia, del trabajo y de las reflexiones de algunos de los premios Nobel de distintas categorías. En este caso de quien hoy se incorpora como académico de honor, el doctor KYDLAND, galardonado en la categoría de Economía en el año 2004 y a quien con muchísima atención hemos escuchado. Mi felicitación de nuevo como académico de honor al doctor KYDLAND y a todos ustedes, muchas gracias por su atención. Muchas gracias.